Juicy chicken meatballs baked in a rich tomato sauce, finished with golden bubbling mozzarella, the ultimate comfort food. Simple ingredients, bold flavours, and a great way to make the most of those fresh garden tomatoes. I've got a mountain of fresh homegrown tomatoes to use up, and this recipe is the perfect way to turn them into something absolutely delicious, flavourful, hearty, and most importantly, comforting. I hope you're all well. I'm Shane. Welcome back to It's Cooking Good. Now, if you watched my video on Tuesday, I made prawn saganaki, again, using this glut of tomatoes. Like many of us, I've got loads of them. I probably, from 2 plants, they were £1.50 each. I've had easily 60 or 70 pounds worth of tomatoes, and they are still coming. So I thought I'd do another one today, and this is a family favourite, and it is my baked chicken meatballs. So I've got a pan here on a medium heat, and to that I just want to add some olive oil, so a good glug in there. We're going to start by making basically the tomato sauce that is going to wrap itself around our meatballs. And to that, I've got here a whole onion I've just diced, and I want half of that in there. And we're going to save the other half for the actual meatballs. And I'm just going to cook those down now for about 2 minutes, just to soften them down a little bit. Okay, so these are softened down nicely. To that, 2 garlic cloves, and I've just sliced them. Get all of that in there. Again now, just cook that down for a further minute. Okay, so the garlic's had its minute, and we're now going to go in with the rest of our ingredients. And here I've got some of my tomatoes, and I've got a mixture of red, yellow, orange in there. On my previous video, I showed you how I do it. These are peeled, so just put a little crisscross with a sharp knife down the bottom, cover them in boiling water, and then that skin will come right off. Leave them for about 5 minutes, then peel that skin off. So they're gonna go straight in. And then to that, pinch of sugar, standard sort of marinara type sauce, a little bit of salt. They're not my normal Muti brand, although they're homegrown. I can't say they're as good as the Muti, so season them up for sure. Bit of pepper. And then to that, I like to add a little bit of balsamic vinegar. I do like that sort of sweet, sour note with my sauce. So I'm just gonna add, not loads, just a dash. It's probably about a teaspoon. Some water. So I wanna loosen it down a little bit. Probably about 100 millilitres of water, and then here I've got some lovely fresh basil. And if you've watched the channel before, you'll know that I put the stalks in and all. Lots of that flavour is in those stalks. So just peel it off like that. I can separate them. That's it. And we'll save some of this back because we will use it at the end. So chuck all that in. Perfect. Give it a little stir around. And I'm going to cover it with a lid, and we're going to let that simmer away now for about 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, so our tomato sauce should be ready. Let's have a little check on it. And that's what we're looking for. Lovely and thickened. It's reduced down nicely. I don't want to reduce that down anymore. If it's too thick, just water it down a little bit more with some of that remaining water that we had, but I'm happy with how that looks. So let's turn this off, and I can put this now to one side. We can crack on with our chicken meatballs. I forgot to say before, if you don't have your own homegrown tomatoes, or you don't have vine tomatoes, just use a 400-gram tin of tomatoes. So let's get that over here. I'm actually going to put it into my barbecue there just to keep that warm, and I'm going to move this out of the way. And you're going to need a food processor. So into the food processor, our chicken, I've got 2 chicken fillets here. Use thighs or breasts. I just happen to have breasts. And I've got 500 grams here. And we're going to chuck that straight in. Actually, that little fella looks a little bit smaller, but it's definitely 500 grams worth. And then to that, 2 garlic cloves, which I've crushed this time, not sliced. Give it a head start. The zest of 1 lemon. Give it that lovely zesty kick, which is delicious. I want half of the onion, so the remaining half of the onion that we had from our sauce. Again, make sure you get every last little bit of that out. Here, I've got Parmesan cheese. I've got 40 grams here of grated Parmesan. Again, if you want it more Parmesan-y, just up the quantities. I'm going to add 1 egg, and that's a whole egg, yolk and white in there. And then lastly, I've got 2 slices of bread here, which I've just blitzed into breadcrumbs. And you want to add a little bit of milk to that, just to soften it down. And just give it a little mix. Don't want this too wet because the chicken and the egg is going to make the meatballs quite sort of sloppy, should I say? Is that the right word? I don't know. But anyway, don't put too much milk in. That looks pretty good to me. So I've got sort of a, you know, if you were to sort of pick it up, you could just about cleanly make like a little bread ball. So that's all going to go in as well. I think the wasps are trying to get in on the action. And then we're just going to blitz that up. Lid on and go for it. Okay, that should be done. Let's have a little look at it. And if you have a look, that's the texture you're after. So if you get a sort of spoon in there, you can see it holds its own, but it is a wet mix. Okay, so let's just quickly clear this all away. Move it out. We're going to need some space here. And I've got a bowl of water. Actually, I'll put it that side. And you're going to need a baking dish because this is going to go in the oven. In my case, I don't have an oven out here. I'm going to be putting it in my wood-fired oven today. But if you were cooking it indoors, 180C fan, and it will cook in exactly the same way. So let's get rid of our blade. Don't waste any of that mixture. And then literally wet your hands and get some of your mix. Now you can make these as big or as small as you want. I like just a bit smaller than a golf ball, or maybe that is golf ball size, but something, if you can see that, about that sort of size. And they're just gonna go straight in to your dish. So I'll make these up, and once that's done, we can then add our tomato sauce and get them in the oven. Okay, so our mixture delivered 12 meatballs, which is perfect for 2 people, maybe 3. Let's get our sauce out. And that's still nice and warm. And all you want to do is pour this over the top. So just spoon it around. Make sure those meatballs are nicely covered. Lovely. And that last little bit over there. Remember, these meatballs, as they cook, they're also going to release some more juices. So you will find that this sauce will become a little bit more runny again as these cook. And that's it. So these have got a total cooking time at the 180 of 25 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes. Halfway through, we're going to check on them and we're going to add some lovely fresh mozzarella on the top. So let's get it in the oven. Okay, so let's set that in. We're going to push it right into the side over there. We'll leave that now for about 10 to 12 minutes before we add our mozzarella. Okay, let's pull these out. They've had 10 minutes. Let's have a little check on them. Put them on my makeshift board here. And they are looking good. Look, it's bubbling away nicely. So now, just on with your mozzarella. I had a whole ball here, which I've sort of just cut into sort of half slices, if you like. Just scatter them around. Want plenty of mozzarella on there, don't you? I mean, who doesn't love mozzarella? That's it. I might as well use it all up. Not be shy with it. Chuck it all on. If you see what I mean as well, you can see that those chicken meatballs have released more liquid. So don't worry too much about thinning it down unless you think it really is that thick. And let's get that back in. And I'm going to cook that now for about another 8 to 10 minutes. Okay, so that has had another 8 minutes. Let's get it onto our little tray here. It smells absolutely delightful and it looks amazing too. And I'm just going to dart around a few fresh basil leaves just for decoration. Let's get it back over to the bench. Let's give it a try and let's see how we've done. Okay, so I've let it cool down slightly. It was very, very hot. But most importantly, let's get one out. The proof is always in the tasting. And that, look at that. Cheese pull, lovely. A little bit of that sauce, and it really has sort of thinned down somewhat. Let's cut into it. Let's see how soft these really are. Hopefully you'll be able to see this. Look at the inside. of that chicken ball. Looks absolutely delicious. Oh, let's give it a go. That is absolutely outstanding. They're so tender. It's like a mousse. I don't know what it is with those breadcrumbs and that chicken and all the other little bits and bobs. Honestly, it is like a little sort of delicate mousse. It's beautiful. All the flavours coming through. Taste the hint of that lemon, the parmesan cheese. The sauce is delightful. That is a proper al forno dish. Absolutely knock out of the park. Serve this as I'm going to, with creamy parmesan polenta, but it would go great with pasta or just hunks of crusty bread to dip in and mop up that sauce. Guys, that's it from me for today. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you like the content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Please also like, share and comment. If you like your chicken dishes, don't forget to have a look at my chicken playlist. If you like Italian food, have a look at my Italian playlist. And if you just like food, have a look at the whole channel. I'll leave all of the details of today's baked chicken meatballs and homegrown tomato sauce down below in the description as always. And all that's left for me to say is until next time, it's cooking good.